When I return to Ace Attorney Chronicles, things are getting interesting. Ryunosuke. The witness testimony. The victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does it. I hope that is the last time I will have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. Not at all, not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Huh? Thanks? Was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with the cross-examination now. Eh? Nani? I expect you noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination. Cross-examination time. Well, I think we all know where this is going. It would be the knife. It has to be. It has to be. Thing is, the victim was sitting here. He was turned around. But so that means that either everything here would have to have been pushed over to this side of the table to make it look like it was his, or he would have been here and they moved the chairs. Either way, the only hole that I saw in any of that testimony was there couldn't possibly have been anything else that would have happened here. So if we could somehow highlight that. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. I guess we can press just for shits and giggles, just in case. But his hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't not have noticed. Do you think so? Let me ask you something. Sorry? Ever since I arrived in this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You can't not have noticed, can you? Huh? What? What fun! You hadn't realized. The dear lady is absolutely right. As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Ryunosuke. Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He always zipped his fly. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing? Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can. Well, I can't. Anyway. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. I guess we can just press on everything until we get to... As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right? Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at that time, if you remember. Which explains why he ordered that drink, correct, waiter? Exactly as you say, sir. Although... whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that. Damn you. I have enough English to understand that, at least. For the benefit of others in the court, it means bless you. I think it means the exact opposite. Anyway... As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot.
Yes!
Yes, it's written here, the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma. I mean, surely that close, the bullet would have gone through, unless your English firearms are that terrible. Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. Ah, but who does have his wrist constantly covered? And as there were no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, so he got stabbed, and he's coughing up blood. It can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life. But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away, when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. I think these people have never been to Applebee's and seen how long it takes for one of those damn plates to cool down. And if the victim burnt his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must already have been dead at that point. And yet, the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time. I concur. Prosecutor, I would choose right. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. Okay, so we need to remember we're on number 4 is when I can present this.
Yes!
Without leaving a trace. If someone is shot, or strangled, or stabbed, or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the... Body? You're suddenly from Boston? Of the deceased? Of the departed? There can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga? As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There would be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Oh no, perish the thought, calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. On my honor, I, Takatsuchi Aochi, will cut down any who dare cast such aspersions. He's got a lot of sibilance in his dialogue. A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back us up here. Yes, evidence. So even the game kind of hints that, yeah, like, that's the right course of action, just because it adds so much dialogue to it. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. Oh shit, I didn't press on that. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I don't know. I think this could be hard work. She can speak Japanese brilliantly, but she doesn't seem to want to say very much. The more she says, the more she's likely to give away. This Englishwoman knows that only too well. She's quite formidable. Dr. Wilson's burn tells us something, I'm sure. I need to use this cross-examination to find out what. They're talking about the burn on his wrist. not presumably the burn from the bullet wound. I can't. I wish I could have the detail thingy again. Could we look at the... was it the autopsy? Where's the detail of that? I don't remember. Somewhere we were told there was a burn mark on his body from the bullet, right? Or did I just insert that on my own? Well, anyway, I think I know where to point this out. First things first, I'm going to press her on everything she said and try to make her blurt something out. We don't need to do that again. What is it, Kazuma? What are you thinking? Oh, don't worry. It's nothing. Okay, unfortunately, the waiter brought the steak. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please, do show me.
Yes!
Nope, music didn't stop. Well, what about that last statement made by the witness? Fuck. Seems perfectly reasonable to me. But, exactly, perfectly, fuck me. But the knife. The knife. So apparently I'm absolutely on the wrong track there. So let's press on this one.
Yes!
Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. Le Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand? Killer blow. The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Aochi is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected. She's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma. What, Ryunosuke? There is one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me. That's really, it didn't unlock until I did all that. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her, Inspector Hosonaga. The detective. Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. If it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then. I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. Find out soon enough, I suppose, once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again. Unfortunately, a waiter brought a steak. I've heard nothing. Show me more. Press. Press.
Yes!
Press. Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British blah blah blah. Really? Is this going again?
Wait.
Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right. Look at it. He's lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man and his train of thought. Sorry, pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. Exactly, okay. But by moving the marker left and right with A and D, you can turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with space. If you can catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. We have to do this a third time. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a look around. Alright then, so first I should move the marker across with A and D, and focus on the detective, then pursue him with space and see what's on his mind. Here we go. Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different... Okay, so we move... We move... There we go. Pursue.
Excuse me.
Yeah, what is the meaning of this? I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts, deeply. It looks like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say? If there's something you'd like to say, please, share it with the court.
Objection!
What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over, immediately. Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, I don't know why that always makes me laugh a little. Not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes, if you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. That shit-eating grin on his face. Ahem. I feel like he took a bullet as evidence out in his chest. Crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Is that... This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming. I guarantee it. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. Carbonated water bottle has been entered into the court record. Miss Brett, can you confirm this is indeed the water from which you drank on the day of the victim's death? Yes, it was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well. Counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Fortunately, I have no idea where the poor man... Oh, God, do we have to go through this? I can't examine right now. I can't examine right now. The label is written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. This must be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking. Then go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. As we just pour all the water out. What is this actually? So this carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. It looks like there's a little left in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much, I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Ryunosuke, you can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. No, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke, in more ways than one. I wonder, could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. Another interesting possibility. So poisoned water then. Okay, well I think that's all I can get out of this. So... When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses and toast. As far as I've heard, it showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses and toast. Oh! I went backwards! I wasn't able to do that before. Or at least, maybe I was hitting the wrong thing. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please, do show me. Well, let's give it a shot, why not?
Yes!
What is this? The bottle of water? Actually, there's one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? The glass that she took, so they couldn't trace her poison. Order! Order! And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could possibly have done it. Giselle Brett, it was you!
Objection!
This is outrageous to suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile, have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in right now? Have you forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one's individual guilt with respect to one crime. What? One individual's. The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We're here to determine the truth. If I may, I will silence you forever for this disgraceful attack. It is you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady. Where did that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring? I described your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector? And whether it contained poison or not? Of course. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And? What did you find, Inspector? I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. No! I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours. So sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, counsel. I think the cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett. Oh, no, I was just glad the matter is resolved. Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this point? Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
Hold it!
Please, wait. I really don't like when they do Deus Ex Machina stuff to get you out of a loop. Isn't that... What is the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. What? Mikotoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. Furoshiki? Sometimes the last I is silent. Definitely in this case it would be shiki cloth. You wouldn't say shiki, it'd be shiki. Anyway, furoshiki cloth. Furo being bath, it's a bath towel. To be continued? Okay, sure. To be continued. See you next time.